Welcome back. I'm Brad from Make It, and today I'll be turning this inflatable boat into a fishing boat. Now, if you're like me, you enjoy fishing, but you just don't have anywhere to store a boat. That's what attracted me to this particular setup. I can store this boat in the back of my truck, in the back of our minivan, take it out to the lake, do my fishing, come back, store everything away. It's not taking up any garage space, it's not taking up any driveway space. I can store this out of sight, out of mind. Now, this particular inflatable boat is designed to have an attachable motor mount to it so you can hook up a trolling motor to it. However, I wanted to customize it and modify this boat to where I can go out and do my fishing for an extended period of time and have it function like a fishing boat and be comfortable in it. So in this video, I'll be showing you my step-by-step process of how I made this boat, and everything that I use in this video, including the equipment that I use, will be linked down in the description below. If you're interested, you can check those out. I am not sponsored by anybody. This is just something that I wanted to do for a very long time. You'll definitely want to stick around to the end because I will actually take this boat out onto the waters, show you what it looks like. I also tell you what I think about this boat and whether or not it's actually worth it to go through this process and have a boat like this. Let's go ahead and dive right into the project. I began by inflating the boat. This gave me an idea of how big the floor needed to be, which I will be making out of 3/4 inch sheet of plywood. This boat is made up of 3 inflatable chambers. The first is the floor, and then there is an inner tube chamber and an outer tube chamber, and they need to be inflated in that order. Once everything was inflated, I can get a rough dimension for the floor. The floor was approximately 38 inches wide and 8 feet long, with the corners being rounded off. Here I placed the boat right on top of my plywood sheet. I then used the outline of the bottom of the boat to give me a pretty good idea of where I needed to taper off the corners. To cut the corners, I just used a jigsaw. I tried to cover the edges with pipe insulation so that I could do a quick test fit in the boat, but they just fell off. When doing a test fit, I noticed I still needed to cut off more around the edges and corners. I don't want the floor to be too wide, but I do want the edge of the boat to slightly overlap the edge of the floor to a nice snug fit. Once I got the floor to a nice fit, I used my router with a roundover bit to round the edges. I then smoothed everything over with my sander to eliminate any sharp or rough edges. Because I'm not using treated plywood, I put an outdoor furniture sealer on each side of the board to help protect it from water. This step can be eliminated if you just use treated plywood. While the sealer was drying, I could start to assemble my boat chairs. This consists of 3 parts: the chair, the pedestal, and since I want my chairs to rotate, I attached a boat seat swivel that goes between the boat seat and the pedestal. Next, I could determine the boat floor layout. Here, I'm determining where I want the front and back seat to be located. I want the back seat to be slightly off-center so it will be comfortable steering the boat, and for the front seat, I made it directly into the center. I will be placing the battery in the middle of the boat, but opposite side of the back seat to help even the weight. With everything laid out, I could start to drill the appropriate holes in the floor. Because I'm leaving the floor all in one piece, I wanted to make it easier to carry around. So I made 2 small handles on one side to help when transporting it. I have seen people cut the floor in half to make it easier to carry and transport in their vehicle, but because I have the space to keep the floor all in one piece, I went ahead and left it this way. This also ensures that I have the most stable and secure floor as possible. I drilled out 4 holes for where each seat will be, as well as a 2-inch hole where the motor mount cable will fit through to attach the cable to my battery. On the underside of the floor, I used my router with a roundover bit to make the edges smooth on the carrying handles as well as the hole for the cable to eliminate any sharp corners. I can then attach the outdoor carpet that I picked up from my local home store. I started by securing one side of the floor first using staples. I could then cut off the leftover scrap carpet and then attach the opposite side, pulling it as tight as I can to eliminate any ruffles. I didn't use any adhesive just because I might want to change the layout of the boat later on. I used an X-Acto knife to cut out the holes for my handles. I made sure not to cut the entire hole out so I could still wrap the carpet through the hole and secure it from the underneath side of the boat. Once the carpet was attached, I used pipe insulation around the outside edge of the floor to help protect the boat a bit better. The pipe insulation covers the edges and the staples, so I don't have to worry about the staples coming out and possibly puncturing the boat. The pipe insulation I'm using has sticky adhesive on the edges. However, to help hold them in place, I use zip ties every 6 to 8 inches to prevent the insulation from falling off. I then flipped the floor over and attached 1 1/4 inch carriage bolts in the holes where the boat seats will be located. I used CA glue to permanently hold the bolts in place. I flipped the floor back over and popped the bolts through the carpet and tested to make sure the seat pedestals fit. Now that the floor was done, I could move on to making the box for the middle console. I cut my 4 sides and made a box. I will be covering the outside of this with more carpet, so I'm not worried about exposed screws. I made this box wide enough to be able to fit the battery inside, as well as other miscellaneous items such as life vest, my anchor, and things of that nature. I added a couple support boards to the top and bottom for extra strength. Here I did use pocket screws instead of attaching them from the outside of the box, because if I ever need to move the support boards over, I can still access them. Next, I could attach the outside with more outdoor carpet. Now, I'm definitely not a professional at this, but I started by attaching the carpet in the middle of the short side of the box because that side will not be seen as much and it will be harder to spot the seam. I secured the top side first and I pretty much wrapped the box like a big Christmas present. I'm not sure if this is the right way to do it, but it worked for me. I didn't realize until now that I didn't have enough carpet to do the entire outside in one piece, so I had to patch that up at the end. Once the top was down, I could flip it over and attach the bottom side of the box and stretch the carpet as much as possible to get it nice and tight. For the lift up top part of the console, I'm using Cedar, which is naturally rot resistant and can be left exposed outside without the need for a sealer or finish. To make my cedar panel, I use pocket screws again, just because if I ever want to adjust the size of my console later down the road, I can still do that pretty easily. I attached the door using door hinges. For a little more customization, I added a fishing pole rack that I purchased off Amazon, as well as 2 collapsible drink holders on each side of the console. Okay, so now that the construction part of the boat is basically done, I wanted to fill you guys in on my setup of how I was going to be powering this boat. The boat does come with 2 oars, but I'm going to be using a 55-pound thrust trolling motor and connect it to my battery, which is also in this battery box. Now what's nice about this battery box, it does contain the battery, so if my battery does this happen to leak or whatever, it's going to be contained in this box and it's not going to get over your boat, it's not going to get in the lake or anything like that, so it's very nice to have one of these battery boxes. Also, what's nice about this particular battery box, it comes with 2 power auxiliary ports here, so I'm going to be able to use my air pump to pump my boat using this battery. It also comes with an indicator light that tells you whether the battery is full, half full, or it needs to be recharged, which is really nice. And then what's also nice is it comes with 2 breakers. So for this particular battery box, you hook up your cables to the battery, and that's going to be set to the 60 amp breaker. So if you happen to be overworking your trolling motor and you don't know it, it's going to break the breaker and then it'll protect your trolling motor from frying, which is super nice. It also comes with the 10 amp breaker for your 2 ports here as well. So it's pretty easy. Once you set up the battery, you can go ahead and set up your negative and positive to your battery box and you're good to go. For this particular setup, I'm actually going to have my battery in the middle of my boat to kind of help disperse some of the weight. So if I'm going to be fishing by myself, I don't want to have the battery, which weighs 60 pounds, myself and the trolling motor all in the back, so I kind of want to even the weight out a little bit. However, I can't have the battery in the middle with just this trolling motor wire because it's not long enough. So I got this kit on Amazon, super easy. The connections are already made for you. You just got to connect everything together and tape it up, and you're good to go. So all the links that I use for this boat are going to be in the description below. You can go check those out. I got everything pretty much on Amazon, I believe. So what's really nice about this particular setup is that it's pretty much already self-ready to go. You don't need to have a whole lot of electrical work. Pretty much it's all set there together. You just got to put it together and you're good to go. So that's kind of why I like this. It's very convenient, super simple, and it keeps it easy. So we're gonna go ahead and attach my wires together. This extension kit has everything you need. Just be sure to follow the very simple directions given to you in the kit. I did run into a slight problem. Once I had my wires connected, I went to attach everything to my battery box, and I noticed the red positive connector hole was too small and wouldn't fit on the red terminal. This really wasn't a big deal. I just cut out a very small section in the loop and spread the opening enough so the connector can fit over my positive terminal. The black connect fit just fine, and I did not need to cut that one. Once everything was connected, I tested the trolling motor and everything worked. Okay, so I'm out here on the lake again, and this is actually my second time being out here. My first time I really just wanted to get my fishing poles in the water and just kind of explore and test out the boat. So I'm out here again, and I gotta say I'm actually pretty impressed with how this boat turned out, considering it's an inflatable boat. And I was a little skeptical at first, but having this out a couple times, it really put those worries to bed, and I'm actually happy with how this turned out. I want to show you guys how this boat looks like on the water, but let me go ahead and talk about my setup first. I'm using a 55-pound thrust motor on this boat, and it actually works really well. I was a little worried about being an inflatable boat that the wind's going to kind of just throw me around on the boat and not really be able to control it, but this motor actually performs really well. I'm actually using the motor the entire time. Sometimes I'll throw my anchor out, but it actually works really well, and I have every control that I need. It actually moves the boat at a pretty good speed as well for being considering a trolling motor. I did notice on my first time out being on the boat that the motor weighs about 27 pounds and it sags the motor mount quite a bit. So I did some research there, and I bought electrical pipes that are 1/2 inch long. I think they're galvanized. I extended the motor mount so that it actually goes through the oar holes. And this actually works really well. If you have a really heavy motor that's over 20-25 pounds, I definitely recommend doing something like this, be able to help support that motor mount. And it worked really well. The cables go underneath my floorboard and up through the hole that I made into the middle console, and I hook up my battery there. Again, this works really well. The electrical battery box works really well. And I can pump my boat, I can charge my cell phone and whatever I need to be charged through this electrical box. Really happy with it. Once again, everything that I have in this video I will link in the description below. And if you have any questions or comments, post them in the comment section down below, and I will do my best to answer them. I'm also happy with the middle console here. This is not mounted to the floor. I can slide it around if I need to. It works great when I have 2 people on the boat. We can use it for storing our tackle box and using it kind of as a table. Also, it's optional too. I don't even need to have it in the boat. If I need to get more people, if I want to put my family in and have more floor space, I can just leave it out. Let's go ahead and take it out for a spin. So this is the boat. That's what it looks like on the water. Let's talk about the practicality of this boat. Obviously there's some advantages and there's some disadvantages as well. Some of the advantages we've already talked about, which is you can store this boat away when you're not using it. Another advantage is you don't need a trailer to take this boat to the lake. This is something you can store in your vehicle, in your truck, in your van. And the last advantage I would say is this boat is relatively inexpensive when you compare this boat to other boats. This boat is a 12-foot long boat. Comparing that to an actual boat, it is relatively cheaper than an actual boat. Now let's talk about some of the disadvantages. One of the main disadvantages of this boat, I would say, is the setup time. With 2 people, it took about 20 to 25 minutes to set this boat up and get it on the water. For me, that's really not a huge deal. Most of that time was pumping up the boat. And maybe it's just my pump. If I got a stronger pump, I might be able to cut some of that time down, but that is something that you're gonna have to consider if you were to buy this boat. Another disadvantage I would say of this boat would be the longevity of this boat is uncertain. I don't know how long this boat's gonna last. I've only had it out a few times, but this is definitely something that you would want to consider if you were to have a boat like this. Now, would I recommend this boat? And the answer to that question is, depends on the person, really. For me, I'm a casual fisherman. I like to go fishing maybe once, twice a month, and this is something I can store away when I'm not using it the majority of the time. If you're a die-hard fisherman and you want to go fishing 2 to 3, 4 times a week, I just don't know how long this boat will last when you're constantly inflating it and deflating it 3 to 4 times a week. So that is definitely something that you would have to consider if you were to buy a boat like this. With that being said, I'm very happy with how this boat turned out. I think I'm gonna get a lot of fun out of this boat. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.